Donald Trump is far and away the worst president in American history. He's a criminal. He should be in prison right now, not in the White House. He's committing crimes on a nearly daily basis. He's certainly committing impeachable offenses. He is ruling as a dictator. There is so much bad that this man is doing. There is simply no need to lie about what he's doing in order to make the case against this man. There's not even any reason to exaggerate what he's doing in order to make the case against this man. Now, as a general rule, it's not a good idea to lie and to exaggerate when you're trying to get other people to agree with you about your political opponent. Because if those people come to realize that you're lying to them, or that you are grossly exaggerating or taking something completely out of context, you will lose credibility with them. And once you lose credibility, you never get it back. And so if you are trying to convince people to see Donald Trump the way they should see him, as the worst president in history, as a lawless wannabe dictator, as a criminal who should be in prison, then it's important to be truthful about all of the things that he is doing so that maybe these people can be persuaded. But if you lie about what he's doing, you're going to lose your opportunity to persuade them. Now, I want now to talk about a case that has been greatly overblown by people who oppose Donald Trump. And frankly, there's a lot of lies being pushed about this. And it has the possibility of really hurting the credibility of our arguments against Donald Trump. And I'm talking here about the arrest of the judge in Wisconsin. Now, I'm hearing a lot of things that this is an attack on the judiciary. This is an attack on separation of powers. This is illegal. The judge did nothing wrong. And on and on and on. You've heard all the commentary. Much of the commentary is coming from people who have no idea what they're talking about. They know nothing about the law. They know nothing about the Constitution. Most of them, I'm sure, did not even read the complaint filed under oath by the FBI in support of a warrant for this judge's arrest. I have read that complaint. It's a 13-page complaint. And if you haven't at least done the bare minimum of reading that complaint, then really you shouldn't even have an opinion here. Now, when I originally saw the headlines about this story, about a judge being arrested in a ratcheting up of the showdown over immigration, which was essentially the headline that I saw, I was very concerned. I immediately thought that perhaps Donald Trump had one of these judges who ruled against him arrested. But that's not at all what happened here. Again, this is a 13-page complaint, and I've read thousands of criminal complaints as a former prosecutor and defense lawyer. This was a very well-written complaint. It was clearly written knowing that the public would scrutinize this. Most FBI officials and agents that I have worked with in my career are highly professional. This complaint was written in a highly professional manner. I will tell you there are a lot of witnesses to this alleged crime. And here's the thing. This judge was not arrested for being a judge. This judge was not arrested for a ruling that she made. She was not arrested for criticizing the Trump administration. She was not arrested for her political views. Now, I have no doubt that the Trump administration relished the opportunity to arrest a judge. I have no doubt about that. They want to scare everybody. And I have no doubt that they are using this to send a message that we will arrest anyone that we can arrest, including judges. No doubt about that. But they did not arrest her over politics or over being a judge. They arrested her for an alleged crime. Judges are not above the law. No one is above the law, except for apparently the President of the United States. But even he is not technically above the law, even given the Supreme Court's position in that ridiculous immunity decision. Even still, he's not legally above the law. He's gotten away with all of his crimes up till now. The main reason, the ultimate reason why he got away with his crimes is because the American people reelected him. If he hadn't been reelected, he would probably be going on trial in the next couple of months. Anyway, but the point is, judges are not above the law. I actually had someone respond to one of my videos about my last video about this, saying that judges are above the law. Not only are judges above the law, they are the law. That's insanity. Okay, judges are not above the law. And this judge was arrested for an alleged crime. And she was arrested pursuant to an arrest warrant based on probable cause, submitted to a judge under oath, and an arrest warrant was signed by a judge, and she was arrested pursuant to a warrant. Now, if you do read that 13-page criminal complaint, you will see that there are lots of facts to support the charge with which she, for which she was arrested. Now, she hasn't had her day in court yet. Her lawyers have not been able to test that evidence in court and offer their own evidence. But if the facts alleged in that sworn complaint, sworn under oath, if those facts, as alleged, are proven in court, she committed a crime. Okay, and that's what she was arrested for. And to take that, and at the very least, of course, she hasn't been convicted yet, but she was arrested for an alleged crime based on probable cause, and a warrant was issued, signed by a federal judge for her arrest. That's what happened. That's where we are. She was not arrested for anything other than that. The fact that they might want to use this for politics doesn't change the fact that she was in fact arrested for an alleged crime based on probable cause and a warrant signed by a federal judge. Now, to take that and to blow it up into something that it's not and say that this is simply an attack on the judiciary, this is a violation of separation of powers, this is illegal, because that's what you're hearing. This is illegal. This was an illegal arrest of a judge. When that's not at all what happened. And maybe she will ultimately be found not guilty. But that's a different question. The arrest was legal. The arrests were based on facts and witness statements. There will be witnesses who work for this judge, members of her courtroom staff, her bailiff, her clerk, prosecuting attorneys who appear before that judge every single day, defense attorneys who appear before that judge every single day, and other people who are witnesses to this will testify against her if this goes to trial. And she will have her day in court. But to blow this up and lie about what happened, to say that there was no basis for her arrest, that this was an arrest just because she was a judge, and this is Trump arresting political opponents, those who are engaging in that rhetoric, perpetuating those lies and gross exaggerations, they're destroying their own credibility with the people that we need to persuade. Because those statements are verifiably untrue. They're just not true. Okay? Now, maybe a lot of people will probably be angry with me for saying this, because that's the nature of our politics today. That's the nature of YouTube and social media. Far too many people want what they already believe to be validated by everything. And if they're coming into this wanting to believe that this was an illegal arrest, not based on probable cause, it was illegal from top to bottom, and this was just about arresting political opponents and all of that other stuff, if that's what you want to believe, many people, once they hear what I'm saying and what other people might be saying along these lines, they'll get very angry and they'll unsubscribe, block you, I'll never listen to you again, all of that stuff. Those people are not serious. And frankly, I'm not interested in having those people in this audience anyway. They're welcome, but I'm not catering my content to appeal to those people. Because to do so means that I can only tell them what they want to hear and nothing that they don't, for fear of losing them as a member of my audience. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm hoping to cultivate a smart audience who is serious. The point is, Donald Trump is a horrible human being, the worst president in history, a criminal who should spend the rest of his life in prison. There is so much that is true about this man that we should be using to persuade our fellow Americans to see him the way that we do. We don't need to lie. We don't need to be, the sky is not falling all the time. Not every single thing that this administration does is the worst thing that has ever happened. Great. Not everything is. And to say that everything is, to have your hair on fire over every single thing that happens, you run the real risk of becoming the boy who cried wolf. Once you do that, once you are seen that way, you lose all credibility. I mean, that's one of the earliest lessons you learn is the boy who cried wolf story. Seems people don't even remember that anymore, to their detriment, because people are so willing for clicks and likes and to have their own bias confirmed constantly. They don't care about their credibility. They don't care about persuasion. And so they're all too willing to engage in the gross exaggerations and the outright lies. We don't need to do that. Trump is legitimately the worst president ever. He's a horrible human being. He's a criminal. We've got plenty to work with. We don't need to lie about this. The facts alleged in that complaint clearly support probable cause to believe that that judge committed a crime. I'm not prejudging her guilt, but at this step, they followed the process. They've swore out a complaint under oath in support of an application for a warrant. They got a warrant signed by a federal judge, and this judge was arrested based on probable cause. That's what happened. That's what's supposed to happen. Judges are not above the law. If this judge got drunk and ran somebody over, would we say that the judge was above the law? Or if she committed some sort other, that's typically a state crime, but if she committed some other federal crime, maybe bribery or something, or engaged in insider trading or some federal crime, and she was arrested, prosecuted by the Trump administration, would we say that that's an attack on the judiciary? That this was an illegal arrest? Or is it only because this had to do with immigration? I don't know. And if you have come this far in this video, you're probably a serious person, because all the serious people would have checked out by now. They would have give this video a thumbs down, probably left a nasty comment, unsubscribed if they subscribe, and that would be it. They're not listening anymore. So the fact that you still are means you're a serious person. Now, you can disagree with me on some of this. Don't know what there really is to disagree with. I'm not pronouncing this woman's guilt. And I highly encourage you to read the criminal complaint if you haven't done so already. Because the case against her, at least at this point in time, and again, if this goes to trial, and she still needs to be indicted by a grand jury. If she's not indicted by a grand jury, then this never will get to trial. And this arrest, the complaint against her will be dismissed. But if this gets to trial, she will be able to present evidence. She will be able to put on a defense if she so chooses. Witnesses called by the prosecution will be cross-examined by her lawyers. She will have the full due process afforded to her by our Constitution. And then it will be decided by a jury of her peers. I'm not prejudging her guilt. But at this stage, where she has been arrested, everything has been done seemingly by the book. There is nothing illegal about this. And in fact, the case, after having read that complaint, seems pretty strong against her. If those facts, as alleged in that complaint, are proven to be true, it's a pretty strong case against her. And in my opinion, she's likely to be convicted. So to blow that up and to say that she should somehow be above the law, you're just playing into Trump's hands. And you're completely losing all credibility with the people that we need to persuade. So all of this hair on fire, this is the worst thing ever, it's counterproductive. And it only actually serves Trump's interests. So thank you all so much for watching. Be well, and I'll talk to you again soon.